doesn't it?
Like at my show, I said at the end of my show, it was called "I Made You This." I was just like thanking the crowd, and I said like, yeah, I haven't seen you guys in a while, and things are really great. I got married, and everybody's so proud. And then I was like, I lost 65 pounds, and then nobody, like a couple of, because it's such a, like people think, because I think that people wonder if it's a good thing or a bad thing, like if it was, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was just like, really
it was
sad and sick, and yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed a number, but whatever the number is was noticeable when you walked in.
Thank you.
And you looked really healthy.
Thank you. I feel healthy. I feel good.
Sometimes, and it depends on how fast you lost it too, because like sometimes
I lost it over like 18 months. Yeah, so it was slow.
That's still pretty quick.
And it was and I had to like severely restrict my diet, and I had to grieve being a fat girl, which I've always identified with fat girl. I don't think that's bad, but I've always identified with that. I've identified with plus size models and like plus size comedians and plus size everybody. And so I had to grieve that I was leaving that. And at this moment, it's really hard to separate myself from that. When I shop for clothes, I'm still shopping for larger clothes. When I look for clothes, I'm still in the plus size section. And it isn't until I try things on that I'm like, it's a part of me that is over. And that's sad. It's sad to grieve something like that. But it was also really emotional because I was, I thought about how I never want to do this again, because I've always been a big girl. I was a fat kid. I started to gain weight at maybe 7, so I was always a big girl. And several times in my life, I've had these big like diets, these big like regimens. As a teenager, I was on a medical weight loss diet. Those commercials would say, "The shape of things to come." I was that bitch. I'd go every week, and they ask you like, "How are your BMs and how much water approximately did you drink today?" and all that shit. And and I lost a lot of weight, but I gained it back. Then I lost more. Then I gained it back. Then I lost more and gained it back. And it's something that it's so regular to me. And I'm sure I'm sure every plus size woman, I'm sure goes through the same thing where you try and you fail and you try it again. And I was just, when I have a doctor I really love and respect, and she, broke it to me that I have to make all these changes. And I was like, I never want to do that again. I don't ever want to be like, today's the day I'm starting a diet, or like today's the day. I don't ever want to be like that again. I just want to change what I do. And I did it, and it was really hard.
So what did you change?
I think I had to stop eating whatever I wanted. And I think that part of it is just really boring. Like, because we all know what's healthy. Like, everybody knows what's healthy. Yeah. Everybody knows what's good for them and what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
But it's all the shit that comes with that, like grieving that self, and it's just everything else that comes with that. That's much harder. But yeah, I had to be like, I want that sandwich on TV. Like, I can't have that sandwich on TV because that'll, lead me back to where I was before. Yeah. So
did you go vegan or something like that, or did you?
I just started to eat really, really bland, and I still do. And on the weekends, I eat a little better, a little more fun. I eat more fun on the weekends. But I started, chicken and vegetables and fruit. and that kind of thing. And when I start to talk about that, that's so fucking boring. It's so fucking boring to talk about. It's, because nobody doesn't know.
Right.
Nobody doesn't know how to lose weight. Like everybody knows that you just eat better and treat yourself better. And I didn't treat myself well for like a really long time. Would
you say that where you were before is in the realm of what would be considered disordered eating?
I think so. Because at some point when you don't care, you stop thinking about it. You just don't even think about it. And it's sort of like, I'm sad and I want that. And for a second I'll feel better I'll feel better for a minute if I eat that. And that's a really, really easy way to feel better. And it's also like a terrible way to feel better if you're feeling shitty a lot and all the time. Like if you're always feeling shitty, you're gonna treat yourself shitty and not and just like put things in you and do things to yourself that you're not thinking about. But I want people to be comfortable when they see me. I don't want them to be like, should I ask about it, or but it's been hard to see myself as not a fat girl. I still feel like a fat girl. I still feel like the same. But it's hard. It's hard to leave that behind because there's such a rebellion. There's such a rebellion in that. It's like it's a body rebellion. It's like I know what you want me to look like, but I don't give a fuck. And I can see how maybe like me doing this could be considered like I'm abandoning my old self and I'm becoming this other thing. I'm probably just overthinking it. I think I'm probably tremendously overthinking that. But yeah.
I can see where you're coming from with no matter what the previous version is, grieving the loss of that version because there were probably positives to that version too.
Yeah.
I just had this literally this same exact thing with a previous interview a couple days ago, and we were talking about getting to middle age and this is the age where historically men anyway are supposed to acquire mistresses and convertibles.
Yeah, right about now.
Yeah, right.
Like now, yesterday.
Wait, 8, 7, 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
So soon.
Yeah.
But I always thought, as I was growing up into adulthood, that I would be immune to that sort of existential crisis because either as a creative person or as just the fuck up that my brain is, I was having those crises about every 18 months.
Yeah.
And the version that emerged was not the same person who existed previously.
Yeah.
And as a young person, I probably had my head up my own ass enough to not really grieve the previous version. I'm like, yeah, cool, it's a new thing. But now I think that one, I'm immune to exactly none of that.
Yeah.
You still hit this age between 45 and 55, and you're like, well, what the fuck am I even doing? What was the point of me being here?
Yeah.
And you do, even when you can intellectually be like, that wasn't good, that wasn't good, that wasn't good.
Yeah.
You still were like, yeah, but some of it was.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I also, but it also has led me to like I didn't want to celebrate my weight loss. I didn't want to celebrate my journey of health, and so I didn't talk to anybody about it unless they asked me what I've been up to, and then it's unavoidable because it was when you're trying to make yourself better. It's like at least when I do it, I like to keep it to myself. I don't want anybody to know about it because as soon as you tell somebody, then they can be like, "Thought you were on that journey. I saw you with a cigarette. I saw you with a French fry," and so I decided not to invite anybody to celebrate it with me, and
in the social media age, that's a hard thing to do because
it was kind of hard because I have some before and afters in my phone where I'm like, and I was like, I thought about how I feel when I see before and afters, and my first thought is, what was wrong with the other person? Like, what was so bad about being this person? And so that's why I consciously refrain from that because I don't want to be. Because before, I think it's kind of harmful, isn't it? It's like, this is what I was like before, and then all this work and so much, and then I became this image next to it, and like, you just see the before and after, and you're like, I could look like that. I should do that now. I should stop eating. And it's just, I don't want to be a part of that, But it is hard. It's hard not to be like, well, look what I did.
Yeah, well, that's hard. In this specific case, that would be hard because no matter what we're talking about, on one hand, of course you would be proud of personal growth progress that you've made, and in articulating pride in yourself for the growth that you just went through, fine line between that and shaming previous versions
absolutely.
Of you.
I don't want anybody to look at me or hear something I say and feel bad about themselves. That's the whole not thing I want. What I want to accomplish in I think everything I do in my art and in my work doing comedy, doing burlesque, doing any kind of performance or music, and everything I want to do, I want to make people comfortable, and I want people to feel free. I want people to forget about every shame and problem they have with themselves, and I want to give somebody just moments of pure joy and comfort. I just think that's the greatest thing, and that's what I try to do, and which means thinking about. I don't know what I was going to say. You can cut this part.
Because you lost your train of thought. This is a good spot to say, holy shit, I thought maybe we'd dance around real core stuff.
Yeah.
And you fucking went for it.
Oh, yeah.
I think before we were even rolling, so I need to find some way to introduce.
So we could start that part right now.
Yeah.
And then you can put the other stuff after it.
Hey, here we are with Sarah Jean Anderson. Don't sit still because she's about to get into some real shit. That's
perfect. Yeah, that's good.
There we go.
That's good.
Yeah.
Can I quickly? I know we've been talking about some real shit.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about rejection because I've just been rejected from some shows. I want to talk about that. I've been rejected.
That's real shit.
That is real shit. That is the realest shit.
It's honestly the core.
It's all being an artist
most
is.
Of us have.
It's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just no. Yeah. Now. I got rejected from the Akron, Ohio Comedy Festival. Just wanted to say.
Funniest city in America, as we all know. So the bar is high.
They gave us Devo. I got rejected from the Akron, Ohio Comedy Festival. I got rejected from the West Shore Art Festival in Ludington, Michigan. They didn't like me either. Women in Comedy Festival in Detroit, didn't like me either. And I tell you, it still hurts for like a second. It hurts for like a second. And, but then after many years of like, of hearing like, nah, it doesn't hurt as much anymore. Like I remember I used to get rejected from a festival or wouldn't get a part or something. And then I would be just really destroyed and depressed for a long time. And like that age is over because it's an undeniable, inescapable part of creating stuff is that not everybody's gonna like it. And like it's funny that that's such a tough concept for some people to understand when they're starting out and doing and being creative and doing a lot of work. It's like, why doesn't everybody like it? Why doesn't everybody want to buy it? It's like, because not everybody's gonna like it. It's impossible. It's impossible for everybody to like it.
I think this theme is a clear front runner so far for something that's going to come up in every fucking one of these interviews.
Yeah.
Because what you're talking about is exactly what I was just talking about earlier about everyone actually wants to be liked.
Yeah.
They want to. You wanted to be accepted by all of those festivals.
Absolutely.
And some people, after rattling off the list like that you just did, would be like, oh, well, maybe I should change my act and make it a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, if you want a certain type of success, I think that's what you're supposed to do, is be like, what didn't they like? How can I change me to make them like me? And that's dumb.
Yeah.
I think it's stupid.
Well,
yeah.
And especially with what you do, I think you're the perfect example of exactly what I was talking about earlier, and in so far literally every one of these interviews, and that is as a performer, but especially as a performer who is funny, I know just intuitively when you go off stage, if you bomb, that's gonna hurt very badly.
It does.
And
it's horrifying.
And yet, if you're not risking absolute bombhood, you're not actually funny.
And bombing doesn't get easier. It feels horrible. It feels horrible every single time. And like I think just after you bomb a lot, you get better at dealing with it. Especially in the moment, you get better at dealing with hecklers and silence and just rejection in general. But it still hurts. It still hurts.
Supposedly,
but it's necessary. It's absolutely necessary. Just like the thing with, not everybody's gonna like your work. Your work isn't gonna be good every time, either. And I think it's time we let go of. I think it's time we let go of those ideas that like your work has to be liked by everybody, and that because that's not reality.
I saw something online recently, and I wish I could remember who it was, but it was an interview with somebody from decades ago, and the whole point of this part of the interview was artists have to be allowed to make bad work.
Yeah. And everybody has bad, and everybody has.
Oh
bad.
yeah, absolutely.
The best artists, everybody.
And I think that, and I remember, this came up also like yesterday with somebody else, who was worried about that, and I remembered in that moment that years ago I had a photo professor who your final grade in that class was based solely on how thick the stack of negatives was that you had. He didn't look at them at all.
That's stupid.
Because on one hand it's stupid.
Yeah.
But his point is you're mostly gonna create shit, And somewhere in there,
Yes.
there's a couple of gems.
Yeah. Yeah.
The percentage is very low, but also the only way you're going to get to the good stuff
Yeah.
is to slog through the shit.
Oh,
that
so that's
sucks.
not dumb. I like that, professor. That's not dumb at all. That's brilliant. It's very brilliant.
I think
because,
it was the 10,000 hour rule before Malcolm Gladwell had ever written a book. But
yeah, books. I read those.
on my phone.
Yeah. That's fantastic, and I think I relate to just sort of pumping out the work until there's something wonderful. My practice has been to create the bad work very openly, and to sell that work or to publish that work, because it still happens that I'll be trying to sell a painting for 10 years and I still have it, and somebody says it's their favorite thing they've ever seen, and so I try to make to produce as much work as I possibly can. And when I was younger, when I was a kid and I was like, I want to be an artist when I grow up, the only thing that I knew that would entail would be making art. And I think that I haven't let go of that definition of an artist that 7-year-old Sarah had. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just you are going to create your, I was just saying, I want to be an artist. I want to make things. I want to create. I want to sell them to people, and that's what I want. And all this other shit isn't like all this, your followers and your clout on the internet, are you invited to fancy galleries? Are you invited to wine tasting things? Is a celebrity interested in your work? None of it matters. None of it matters. It doesn't, it's not part of it. And we kind of accept that we sort of, I mean, I can't say we as we all artists, not everybody is doing that, but it's sort of accepted that the artists working in their hometown, the artists working in their hometown, doing a lot of paintings, selling them, doing some art shows, that's not the goal. I feel like the goal is to become a famous artist and have a crew that makes your painting, and I know that's still being an artist, that's still creating, but why do we aspire to that? Why do we aspire to, I don't know, to instead give our work to a crew and just oversee it and count our money? And that just always seemed really icky to me. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you take a break and you're not creating for a while. It doesn't matter if you're creating, it doesn't matter if you're sharing, doesn't matter if you're not sharing your work, you're still an artist. And I think we should just remember our 7-year-old selves and what they thought the life of an artist was.
So since you were 7, you knew that you would be doing this? Did you ever flirt with a more standard?
Yeah, when I graduated high school, I'm really into true crime, and I wanted to work in the justice system. I wanted to work for prisons. Yeah, yes. But also I have a prison fantasy, sexual. I think it was all kind of muddled up. I want to be in charge of the prisoner. I don't know if that was a very serious dream of mine. But no, it's always been that I wanted to create. And I remember the moment I realized this is amazing and I want to do it forever. As I was in school and I was I was probably in preschool or something, and I was sitting and I was drawing, and next to me this girl was drawing better than me. And so I was like, I want to know how to do it like that. And I was just copying her, and I was just amazed that I was just amazed to see a new way of doing something, and that was magic. I remember it so vividly, and that's not a great story. That's not a great story. Like, I remember a girl was drawing, and I really liked it, and I copied her drawing. Like, what a shitty story to start out with, but I remember how that felt. Be like, that's beautiful. How do I do that? And when I expressed to my family, to my parents when I was little, when I expressed to them that I was into art, they did everything that parents should do, and they the whole time supported it.
That's awesome.
The first thing that happened was I remember my mom buying me books about the classical painters, about Van Gogh and Matisse and stuff. And I remember those being like my first books, like, and reading about artists, and just the whole time throughout my whole childhood and my adolescence, they never made me feel like I couldn't do it, or that it was just a hobby and that I should really think about something else in my future. They sort of accepted that was who I was, and I love my parents for that. I love my parents for that.
That's awesome. That's I guess my parents were always supportive too, but I think that isn't the norm.
Yeah.
Is what I hear.
Yeah.
Mostly, it seems like a lot of our creative friends, supportive really meant just like putting up with it.
Yeah.
And
yes.
eventually they'll get tired of this and they'll get a real
I felt
job.
like actively encouraged. And it's not and this isn't really I don't know, I guess the typical experience of many artists, where I wasn't questioning it, or I was kind of very, very open with who I wanted to be. And it's because of that I remember I painted a piece. My dad took me to Frames Unlimited. We got it framed very nice, and we brought it to Gold Coffee Company before it was Morningstar. And I was like, I told the owner, I said, I love this coffee shop, and I made this painting. Can I put it in your coffee shop? And they were really excited. They put it up, and then every time I went in, I was like 16. I was like, oh, it's still here, and that was so valuable to learn. And it's because my dad was like, let's get it framed. Let's go see if you can hang it up. And
That's awesome.
And it really is that easy. It really is that easy.
And that worked out for you, but also a valuable experience as a 16-year-old to flirt with rejection immediately.
Yes, absolutely. And I experienced some rejection. I mean, I didn't get into Kendall. I experienced like some rejection. But I started doing art shows. I had some pieces I remember it was for Women's Month. I think I was still in high school, and that was really, really, it was really important to feel like to feel like it was possible. Nothing made me feel like it wasn't possible. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And although like everybody's, I think, I keep on saying like all artists or like every artist or like most, like I don't fucking know. Every one of us is so goddamn different. I don't know. You can't make judgments about any of them. We're all individuals. I know that like parents will be like they're proud of your work. They put it on the fridge and stuff, but they're also encouraging you in a different direction. And I feel like I was very well encouraged in one direction.
So, speaking of, you've known this since you were 7 that you were going to be an artist in one way or another, mm-hmm. and as we know, in multiple ways. But we all know now that there is a huge price of admission for deciding on committing to that life.
Yeah.
It ruins relationships. It's
yeah.
like on and on and on. Like, because it's not for the faint of heart, and
Yeah.
a lot of times, well, like the income goes like this, then there's it's never in the middle.
Yeah.
It's never in the middle.
And I was talking about this yesterday about how like I decided to be full time with performance and with art about 10 years ago. So I've been doing it professionally for 10 years. And the way I describe it is just like when I'm broke, I'm just broke, and I'm just, when's the next gig? And I'm comfortable with that. Like I'm fine with that. I remember I was crying. I didn't get a part in something, and I was crying, and I was like, why did I choose this life? And my friend was like, well, if you went to school for communications or something, maybe you could have avoided this feeling, but you wouldn't be happy. And I was like, yeah, I am happy.
I've said that in tears so many times.
Yeah, no, I'm so happy.
I have a problem with that part of it, because on those down moments, when I have to strategize about how I'm going to make sure that like the water doesn't get shut off or whatever.
Yeah.
Turns out there's a lot more self-worth wrapped up into that than I would want.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's tough.
And I mean, I'm saying like, when I'm broke, I'm just broke. Like I'm married. We own our house. Like, it's easy for me to say that.
Yeah.
It's very easy for me to say, like, when I'm broke, because it's not that exactly. I'm still like safe. I'm still covered. I'm still eating. But I sort of like decided that money wasn't going to be the thing that I.
Did you decide
that? It just wasn't going to be the thing.
Or once you decided to be an artist,
society decided that, man.
You had to decide that money
I think
wasn't
the
going to be a
world
thing.
decided that. Society decided that. Because that's what everybody tells you. Like, you're not gonna make any money. You're not gonna. Don't you want? But like, what if I don't fucking care about that? What if I'm okay with like just what I deserve and just what I need? That's what's wrong with that? Normalize townie artists who are broke sometimes, who are nobodies, but who do it every day.
Well, at least regionally, I would not put you in the nobody camp, because
I think I would.
Well, but our social circles overlap a lot, and every time I walk into anyone's, right now, I'm literally blanking on anybody that I think is interesting. I'm blanking on any example of walking into their house and they don't have a Sarah Jean Anderson painting on their wall somewhere.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sometimes that happens where like my cousin will be like, my boyfriend's at work and the client has your art all over the house, and that makes me really happy. Because I want to make people feel very, very comfortable. I feel like art is a way to do that. Like, that makes me happy for a second. I'm going to own that and feel happy for a second every day. And so I have really good supporters of my work. But I feel that since I split my time between I do burlesque, I do comedy, and I do visual art, that I'm a nobody in each field. I'm a nobody in each of them. And I used to think that was really bad, but I think that that's pretty great. Because the stakes are so low. Nobody knows who I am. If nobody knows who I am, and
and again, once you have I don't think that you would fall into this trap, but once you have, if you weren't a nobody and now you have a reputation to maintain, you'd start not taking risks.
You're right.
Because it would fuck up your reputation.
That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. And
I don't think you personally would do that, but that's what would happen.
But I think that might be why I'm so not reluctant. I like reject so many parts of being a working. I reject like having to climb. I reject having to move. I don't want to move. Like yeah. I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, let me ask you real quick.
What I was going to say was really smart.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
It was really good. Oh, it was really profound. I don't remember.
I'm just thinking about what you were going to say.
What was I going to say?
Oh,
yes. That what you just mentioned about like if you have to maintain something. It might be just I'm afraid of that. It might be that I'm fearful of the pressure that comes when not everybody, when many people like your work. Maybe I like being under the radar. Maybe I like being a secret. I think that's kind of attractive.
Well, I don't think you're as under the radar as you think you are. But if that helps you not give a shit,
yeah,
then tell yourself
it does
that
help me. It does help me not give a shit.
Tell yourself that all you
It's
want.
like dancing when no one's looking. Yeah. Nobody's watching. If nobody's nobody's paying attention. Just think what you can get away with, and that's
my version of that is dance like fuck those people. I don't care.
Yeah. Dance like you hate everybody in the bar. Dance like you Normalized county artists.
My version of that, if I think about it, the reality of my version of that is dance as though you are with your kids at a wedding reception.
Aww.
And they're now just in their preteen years, and you need to like really mortify them.
Yeah.
That's how you should dance.
Yes. Oh, that's how we should all dance. It's like we're embarrassing our kids.
Yeah.
I don't have any children, but I love to embarrass whoever I'm with. Mom, the diapers are in the other aisle. Like that kind of shit. I love that shit. I love it.
Remind me not to go shopping with you.
Yeah, we won't ever go shopping together. We're not going shopping together. I gotta pee really bad. No, I'm not.
That's not absorbent.
I'm not going to do
properly absorbent.
I'm not going to.
Real quick, I wanted to ask you about you have a very distinctive style of painting. Did you
Thank you.
consciously cultivate that, or did it just sort of happen? And
I know when it happened.
Oh, okay.
I was I think I was like 12 and my sister was 10, and we stayed up all night long. Like I remember it was a school night and we stayed up all night long watching Cry Baby, which is that John Waters movie.
Yeah, right.
It was our favorite movie, and we watched it over and over and over. And just one night, and suddenly it was time to go to school. But I remember being so loopy. We were just like laughing and being. It's my sister's birthday today. Happy birthday, Emmy. But I was laughing. We were having so much fun. Like, oh, don't let mom hear. And I remember drawing all over my sheets with markers, and I drew these blueberries. And they had 2 eyes and no nose and just a mouth with 1 tooth. And it said, "We are happy blueberries." And that became an inside joke between me and my sister. We are happy blueberries. And that became the style of if I was drawing something. If that became my little comic style. And it was mostly just drawn in cards or to make my friends laugh. And then my friends started laughing more about it and more about it, and so and that became a live journal, 2004 or whatever. Then that became a zine that I sold out of my purse at rock shows when I was in a band, and those images I just decided one day to make them bigger. I painted. I guess I'll just call them adventure people. I painted adventure people as the cast of The Craft, and that was my first painting that I posted. I think that was like 12 years ago, and the whole time I've been painting, and a lot of that work no one saw, and a lot of it's just gone forever. But that piece, somebody has it, and that's the first piece that started all these hundreds of weird pieces of art. And and it started just because I wanted to make my sister laugh. And I think that's why I do most comedic things, is because I just want to make my friends and my family laugh. And I think that's why I do silly paintings, because I want my friends and my family to smile and to feel good. And now I'm just expanding that to the whole world. Art.
Well, it seems to have resonated with lots of people.
Please don't give my paintings to Goodwill. If you buy a painting from me and then you divorce the person, please give the painting to me, and I'll make you a new one, it'll be just you, or you can set it on fire. But please don't send my paintings to Goodwill, because I shop at Goodwill and it hurts my feelings if I'm gonna see my paintings given to Goodwill. And then you could have a graphic come down and it could say, don't send her paintings to Goodwill.
We were not supposed to mention anything about what happened before.
What do you mean what happened before?
Wait, was that you?
What are you talking about, what happened before?
I must be thinking of something else.
All right.
I don't know.
Is there somebody else here?
No. It's just the two of us.
I just got here,
Yeah.
so.
I don't know.
I forgot to tell you, there's a lady outside. I think she's shitting under your tree.
What's her name? Lita?
I don't know her name.
Reba?
I don't know her name. Didn't think of asking her name.
I don't know. She always shouts at me across the yard, so I never can really hear because of the traffic.
Right, but she's out there right now. I don't know.
Okay. Did you said that you wanted to, you said you wanted to talk about some stuff that you're doing currently or upcoming. You have not talked about that yet, if that's what you wanted to talk about.
Oh, I didn't want to talk about that, but I can.
Okay.
No, I want to talk about that. I always list my events on Instagram. It's the one social media outlet that I use.
And you're Sarah Jean Land on
Sarah Jean Land, and that's, you can find my schedule there. I'm hosting a burlesque brunch in Lansing at Sleepwalker Brewery. That's on Easter, and that's going to be burlesque games and just raunchy fun at 10:30 a.m. Really, I've never done anything. Yeah, it's the raunchy hour. And I'm doing an art pop-up at Little Space Studio, right here in Grand Rapids at the Harris Building. Got some more burlesque, and I got some comedy in Lansing on the 14th, and then some more burlesque at the end of the month. And if you see on my Instagram, I always put up my dates.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm excited for this year. I can't wait for shows to start. Pride Month is going to be amazing. Last year I was like, why can't I just do tons of Pride events? And so this year I've got 6 Pride events that I'm doing, because Pride is just so much fun. Yeah, I'm still in Grand Rapids because I haven't run out of shit to do in Grand Rapids, and I think it's a misconception that we have, that we don't have things going on.
Yeah.
Because we have so much. There's a lot of opportunity. And I can't wait to get started again. Winter is usually when I apply to shows, and I just wait for a rejection. And when it gets warm out is when the art comes out. And yeah, I'm really excited for that. I'm gonna pee.
Before I forget, and I'll let you pee in a second, but I need to say on camera that I haven't been able to talk to you in person in probably 10 years. Like, we'll see each other at events or whatever, but
yeah, I see what's
but
up.
not being able to have a conversation. And, and we used to work together with a burlesque show, which meant we saw each other all the time.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to say on camera that I watched over the years with the show, especially when the show was at Wealthy Theater, so it was easier to gauge what the crowd was doing. I was either there just to take photos or just there to watch the show.
Yeah.
And what I noticed over and over and over again is that people are coming and going to the bar to get beers throughout the night. When you came out on stage, not one person needed to pee or get a beer. And they stayed there for whatever it was you were about to do. And then as soon as your act was over and you walked off stage, then there was multiple people who were like, I gotta pee, or my beer's empty, but they never once. That sounds like an exaggeration, but nobody left the room.
Thank you.
When you were on stage.
Thank you for telling me that. Thank you.
I don't know if you ever noticed that, but you.
No. What I have noticed is every single person who's ever stood up and walked out. I've noticed every person who stands up and walks out. But I think I've never noticed that people staying. I just if somebody leaves, that sticks with me forever.
Well, right, because people staying to you is a non-event.
Yeah, but there's far more people staying than leaving.
Yeah.
I should really start noticing that.
But then you would have to say, I'm not a nobody.
Oh.
So.
I'm really comfortable being a nobody. I'm so comfortable.
So
I can get in controversies.
Pick your lane,
I can
dude.
get in fights and stuff. And I don't, nothing happens. But as soon as everybody knows your name, then it's like, well, what's Sarah's take on this? Like, I don't know.
We've just been talking for an hour
Yeah.
about what's Sarah's take on
Oh no! That's right. I just talked about myself for like.
Yeah.
I don't do it a lot. I mean, I think maybe I don't do many interviews. I think that's it. I think I just don't do very many interviews. Whenever they describe an artist or a musician or somebody as elusive, I'm like, good for them. When they say, or elusive or reclusive or like not many interviews are done, I'm just like, good for them. Because it can be hard to avoid.
Which is, I think, hilarious as we wrap this up, because you are a really compelling interview, and honestly, I have had to do the least amount of talking I've ever had to do
Really?
in an interview.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're such a good team.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that reminds me of a story. If you could just shut the fuck up for a second.
Yeah, I never got to talk about
Yeah,
me.
you never got to the next one.
Yeah.
The next one.
All right.
And thanks for calling me.
I don't want to paper towel up
And
her urine
I
off
gotta
the floor.
pee so bad. But thanks for calling me cool. Because it's cool people.
Oh, right.
And you asked
That's right.
me.
I forgot the
That
name of
means
the
that you
show.
think that
I
I'm
forgot
cool.
that. I do think you're
you.
cool.
Thank you.
The one and only Sarah Jean Anderson.
It's coming
And
out.
cut.
I gotta pee so
We
bad.
cut.